It is the first day of the week, Monday, the third day of March 2025. We are excited once again to be here on Salve, Vicinus to keep you entertained for 2 hours. In the course of this program, you're going to be thrilled with the various slots that will be coming up to keep you relaxed, to keep you uplifted, get your spirits uplifted, why not? And get a reminder that we are alive and we always need to be grateful to God. Well, today on Salve Vicinus, we have a very intriguing talking point. Yes, one that concerns you, one that concerns me. And so just stay connected and I would love to hear from you or what you think. You know, your contributions can help someone out there following the program to be healed. Yes, why not? To have an advice, to be able to change their life or change their situation. So never relent efforts at sending us SMSs or WhatsApp messages or any comments on our Facebook. We are going to be reading them live. I'm Samailin for presentation this morning. And on the show, we are going to definitely have an excerpt of Bishop Michael Stachins. He's always reminding us of the gospel and what we have to do as a Christian to keep the faith alive. Of course, this morning we will also be treated to Divine Mercy Info. That will be exactly 7:30 a.m. with Bernard Song there. Press review comes up this day with Magdalene Owundo. We'll have our Where Ends Meet. We get to discover a hustler on the street of Boya. Beauty and fashion with health and beauty with Matida B song, and definitely Pigeon News with King Jaman. So do not touch that dial. The program just started. It's time for us to take a beautiful musical piece, a gospel one that will keep us ready for today's show. Stay with us.
What happened to the way you used to believe in me without a doubt? What's changed along the way? Oh, did trials and temptations break you? Did you forget that I'll be with you too at the end of the world? I see I'm close when everyone is distant. You can see me with the doubt that covers your eyes, but I'm waiting right next to you now. If you want, take my hand to faith. I've been waiting to save you. If you choose, I'll be yours. I am everything. Oh, if you want, take my hand, faith. I am waiting to save you. If you choose, I'll be yours. I am everything. What stands between you and your dreams? Eternal life and happiness and peace. Is your doubt and fear? I'll remember all I've done for you. The oceans crossed, the mountains climbed when I was by your side. See, I'm close when everyone is distant. Take my hand, have faith in me, my child, and you'll have everything you need.
A very beautiful, beautiful one there to get this edition of Salve Vicinus started. Thank you very much, our broadcaster, this day for picking that one specifically to start the week. Well, remember it's Monday, and beginning the week sometimes for us is really, really challenging because we've had a beautiful weekend. We've relaxed. We've gone for a vacation for the weekend, spent some time with family, and then getting back to the workplace, to the business side. It could be a little bit psychologically disturbing, but then Salve Vicinus is here to get that spirit uplifted, right? To put you on the right footing. And I'm sure you were in church yesterday. Yes, the last Sunday in ordinary time, because Lent is coming. On Wednesday, we are going to definitely start the Lenten season with Ash Wednesday, the ashes on our forehead that will remind us that from ash we came and onto ash we are going to return. So enjoy the last 2 days in ordinary time, because we all know what Lent is all about. It's a season of fasting, prayer, almsgiving. You know, you have to let go of that thing you love so much and strive to forgive and do the needful, sacrificing to be able to help someone out there who is in trouble, someone who needs help, saving up or letting go of some habits or some, fantasies we really enjoy and pleasures. To be able to help someone out there is the goal. So let's see how this Lenten season is going to be, but we have to be spiritually prepared for the journey to accompany Christ during his 40 days, in the wilderness, and then the prelude to the big feast, Easter, the feast of the resurrection. Well, that said, we are now going to take an excerpt of Bishop Michael's teachings, and when we come back, we are going to definitely launch our talking points for the day. So do not touch that dial.
Shall not steal. You shall not steal. To steal means that what? That you take something that belongs to another person without the consent, without the permission of that person. If you take something that does not belong to you without getting the express permission of the person who has what you have taken, that is considered as stealing. And that is why the seventh commandment invites us, therefore, to try to practice justice. And what is justice? Justice means giving to each and every person what is his or her due. The seventh commandment also invites us that we should be charitable, that we should practice charity in the sense that we should show love towards our brothers and our sisters. Because if we love one another, then the good we have will normally belong to everybody. We'll take care of ourselves, we'll take care of our families, and at the same time, we'll take care of our brothers and sisters who may be in one need or the other. The seventh commandment also wants us to consider what the church calls the universal destination of all goods. That when God blesses you, when God gives you something, what has been given to you by God is not meant only for you. What has been given to you by God is meant for others too. So if God blesses you, then you have a duty and a responsibility to also see how you can meet up with the needs of your brothers and your sisters who can be in their need of something. Of course, the seventh commandment also acknowledges the fact that we have a right to own our private property. You have a right to work, to get paid, and when you are paid, to make sure you own your own private property that belongs to you. But at the same time, the right to own private property also means that you must be ready to share. If you own private property, it also means that you should be able to share with your brothers and sisters. So our goods are not only for ourselves. Our goods are for members of our families. Our goods are for others who may be in one need or the other. And we are all called upon to make sure that whatever we own, whatever God has given to us, that we make sure we share with our neighbors, we share with our guests, we share with those who are sick, we share with the poor. And it is a duty and a responsibility of the political authority to make sure that the goods that belong to the nation is properly shared and distributed to all the citizens of that nation, so that some people do not confiscate these goods that is meant for the common good and they want to use them as if it belongs to them as individuals. And that is why the seventh commandment is telling us about the importance of certain virtues that we are supposed to have if we have to live the demands and implications of the seventh commandment and live it properly. And these virtues, of course, is temperance, moderation. That because God has blessed you with food, because God has blessed you with drink, it doesn't mean that from morning to evening you should eat and drink because you have it. You know the next effect of that is that you are going to fall sick, you are going to be taken to the hospital, and the next thing is that you are going to die. And that is why if God has blessed you with whatever, and you are supposed to use what God has given to you, we are told that we must practice the virtue of temperance, the virtue of moderation, so that you can only take what can get into your body, and what you cannot use, you make sure that you share with your brothers and with your sisters. Of course, as far as the goods that God has given to us is concerned, we are reminded about the importance of putting into practice the virtue of justice. Justice means giving to each and every one what is their due, which means that if this belongs to me, it is my due, so give it to me. Don't take what belongs to me and make it to belong to you. And that is why in the society today, sometimes we have difficulties, we have challenges, because what is supposed to belong to other people, or what we are supposed to develop for the good of other people, what is happening is that we are taking what does not belong to us, that is supposed to belong to other people, that is supposed to be used by every person, and we are making that to be ours. And once there is no justice in any community, that is why we are fighting. That's why we have wars. And that is why it becomes difficult for us to live in peace and harmony with one another. Then, of course, another virtue is the virtue of solidarity. We have to live in solidarity with one another and make sure that whatever we have, we always think about others and make sure that we share with them. Then the church also, as far as this commandment is concerned, also encourages us that one of the ways we steal can be the way we manipulate skills and things during the time that we are doing businesses. I don't know whether it is still happening, but I know when we were growing up, there were times that people were selling granite. They will push the under of the milk container and they'll put the granite. When you are buying it, you'll see that the thing is full to the brim. And when they are turning it into the wrapping, they cover the under. You buy granite for 1,000, but the cup that was full is actually half. Or you go to buy meat in the market. They are played with the scales in such a way that a kilo of meat, I don't know how much you say a kilo of meat now, whether it's 1,000 or 2,000. They make it in such a way that when you buy your kilo of meat, you will never get the exact quantity because the scale has been manipulated upon. That is stealing. That is stealing. Or you get a situation in which people practice corruption, bribery, corruption. These are all different ways in which we can steal what does not belong to us. Another way is to practice what we call forgery. Sometimes we forge documents. You see a child who is delivered in 1971, the birth certificate is showing 1981. You see somebody comes for application and gives you all the documents you need, originals. And you take that person for employment as a medical doctor or a teacher, and before long you discover that those documents were all fraud. So if we practice forgery, those are other ways in which we can also steal. Then of course, there are people who give wrong invoices. You want to buy something, or they give you 1,000 to go and buy something. You go and buy something for 500, and you write there that you are bought for 1,000. I remember once I was still a priest. I stopped in a petrol station in Bamenda to buy petrol. And I asked that to top the tank. And when the guy did it, he asked me, how much should I write on the receipt? I said, but how much have you put? He said, no, I want to ask so that I can write more so that we can share. These things are happening. Yes, you can send somebody to go and buy petrol with a car. You give the person 50,000. The person will go and come and say, I bought it for 45,000. Then why the person bought it for 30,000? And there's a receipt showing the 45,000. So these are some of the ways that we carry out certain practices in the society that actually is not helpful, and it goes a long way to make us not to live according to the demands of the fifth commandment. Then the fifth commandment also demands that if we are to make promises or draw up contracts of employment with people, we make sure that we live according to the terms of those contracts. We have made a contract with somebody and the person is supposed to put in a certain amount of time to do work. We make sure that we also respect the demands as far as those contracts are concerned. And of course, we can continue to give lots and lots of examples. We can never exhaust them. If we look in our society today, from the level of the family, from the level of the small Christian community, from the level of the parish, the society as a whole, there are lots of things that we do that betrays the trust that God has for us, and also the trust that has been given to us. So we are treating the seventh commandment then. We are being invited, as far as this commandment is concerned, that all of us, we should reflect. We should go back to our daily activities and ask ourselves, this particular thing that I am doing, is it supposed to be done that way? Is there any element of stealing, of taking what does not belong to me, as far as this is concerned? And of course, we evaluate ourselves and we see the situation. I think it's important for us to take measures to avoid situations in which we are going to be involved in stealing that will make us to live contrary to the demands of the commandments, and also live contrary to the dignity we are expected to have like human persons.
Huge thanks to you, His Lordship Michael Bibi, for reminding us about the importance of respecting people's goods and services. Yes, say if you're a business person and you're doing the tricky business, you bend your cup like the bishop said, you try to swindle people of their money and all, that is stealing. Taking someone's, even if it's just a pen or a pin without their consent, it's called stealing. When you're blessed, you have to be able to bless others, because God has given you a gift, God has given you a job, so that you can also put the smiles on other people's faces. You can touch lives. God is using you as an angel of light to spread that light to others. So don't think that your job is all about taking care of yourself. Extend a helping hand to friends, family members, and why not even strangers. That's where your reward is going to come from. Be reminded of that stealing is not good. It is evil. If you really want to make a genuine earning and genuine living, you should be able to give people what they deserve. The money they give you, give them the services, give them the goods that they actually deserve. Do not cheat them, whether it's change or what you're selling. Give them what they deserve. Well, that said, we are launching our talking points right now, and today we want to look at the first 2 months of this year 2025. We know that at the end of the year 2024, most of us set goals. Why not all of us? Yes, we have projects, we have goals, we have so many projects we want to achieve this 2025, and it started on the 1st of January. Now 2 months are down. How much have we achieved so far? So our talking point goes thus: looking at your bucket list for 2025. What have you achieved so far? What have you achieved during the first 2 months of 2025? Looking at your set goals, what's a bucket list? Let's begin from there. Okay, I'm sure someone is nodding their head at home. Salve, Vicinus, we're not just here to talk, we also want to educate you. You must have heard this saying, a bucket list, and you're wondering what a bucket list is, or you're hearing the word for the very first time. We are going to enlighten you on that, so do not worry. All right, a bucket list is a number of experiences or achievements that a person hopes to have or accomplish during their lifetime. Yes, during the course of your life, in the course of the year, because not all of us will be here on the 31st day of December, so we are not so sure, but we pray and hope God will give us that grace to live long. So you're not so certain. So in the course of this 2025, what do you want to achieve? And this definition goes further to make it funny that the name bucket came from when you hear someone say, or the adage that goes, kick the bucket. Kick the bucket means someone has passed or someone has lost their lives. So what are the goals you want to achieve before you kick the bucket? So is that put simply? And Yeah, we just want to look at the set goals for 2025. Forget about the kicking of the bucket side. Okay, so a bucket list is those things, those projects, those achievements, those experiences you want to attain, maybe before the end of the year, as we situate today's talking point. So share with us your thoughts, your projects, and if you were able to achieve something for the first 2 months, because it begins with that. If you are not able to achieve during January, February, it could be really difficult for the next 10 months. But nevertheless, we don't give up, we don't lose hope, we stay strong, and we look forward to the next months that are upcoming, and we strive and hope that we'll be able to achieve these set goals. Well, that said, it's exactly 7:30 and we are getting into the newsroom this beautiful morning, looking at events making news in the Diocese of Boya and elsewhere. We'll be taking you around the diocese and beyond. Yes, in the next few minutes we'll be getting there. So do not move from us. So meanwhile, updates will definitely come up at exactly 7 p.m. during the prime time news. But this morning, while our seminarian and pastoral here is getting set for this news presentation, let's now look at set goals. Yes, what does it mean to set a goal? What are the challenges we are going to face in the course of achieving some of these goals? There are certain principles we must incorporate into our daily lives, into our lifestyle on a daily basis. We have to be sure that we have some of these habits so that we can be able to achieve our goals. Well, what you should also know about setting goals and achieving them is that vague goals are the enemy of progress. So your goals should not be vague, okay? Take a jotter, a notepad, a piece of paper and a pen. Write down those goals on them, and then you start achieving them one after another. Your goals should not be vague, they should be precise. What is that thing you want to achieve? Spell it out, okay? Spell it out, write it down, and be sure to work hard on them to achieve them. Nobody is going to come from heaven to make those goals achieved or make them realized. You're the one that has to work hard for that. Remember, there's no food for a lazy man, okay? God will definitely be there to guide you through. All right, that said, we are getting into our newsroom this morning. Bernard Asongne is going to treat us with the news, so stay tuned.
Morning, dear televiewers of Divine Mercy Radio Television, and welcome to our Divine Mercy Info this morning, where we shall be looking at the news-making events within the Diocese of Boya and beyond. This morning, I'm Bernard Asongne, and we'll begin this morning with the ordination of the Bishop of Yukaduma. Friends, family, and Christians of the Diocese of Yukaduma in the East region this Saturday, March 1st, 2025, converge on the Yukaduma Stadium for the ordination and installation of their new bishop, Monsignor Justine George Ebenge. This significant ceremony, which took place at the stadium, saw the presence of government officials, the Apostolic Nuncio to Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea, His Grace Joseph Avelino Betancourt, bishops and emeritus bishops of the various dioceses in the Republic of Cameroon. Presenting the newly appointed bishop to the Christian community was Archbishop Samuel Cleda of Douala, who confirmed his trust in him to lead the flock of Yukaduma, thereby performing the ordination rites, in which the new prelate was vested with the symbols of his office, including a mitre, crucier, and a fisherman ring, all signifying his authority. Let's now take a listen to an excerpt the presiding bishop's homily, in which he expounds on why God has chosen him and says more is expected of him.
Le témoignage des 12 nous éclaire. Ces 12 ont renoncé à tout et sont entrés dans une voie nouvelle. Suivre celui qui sauve, faire désormais partie d'une nouvelle communauté avec lui, vivre de son évangile. Et chaque jour, nous avons à apprendre tout de lui, à découvrir sa personne, à comprendre chaque geste de sa vie, chaque parole qu'il prononce. Cela est très important. Il n'y a pas de distinction entre nous, notre vie, qui annonçons l'évangile. Nous devons nous donner totalement à nos frères, à qui nous annonçons l'évangile. Cela, nous le savons bien, parce que l'œuvre divine est avant tout une œuvre d'amour, au sens de l'amour que Jésus-Christ nous a révélé. Donner sa vie pour ce qu'on aime. Nous devons nous donner totalement à nos frères, notre propre vie, à l'exemple de notre Seigneur. Et toi, fils d'homme, je fais de toi un guetteur pour la maison d'Israël. Lorsque tu entendras une parole de ma bouche, tu les avertiras de ma part. La mission de l'évêque est d'éclairer, de guider, de réconforter, de demander devant le troupeau, de marcher devant le troupeau que le Seigneur lui confie. Il n'a à répondre l'ordre de personne. S'il a dit, il proclame l'évangile avec toutes ses exigences. Il est le veilleur.
And that was all the way from the Diocese of Yucaduma. And now we move over to the incidents that made news, the accident communique issued by the Chancellor of the Diocese of Boya, where the stable health condition of His Lordship Malcolm Bibi, Bishop of the Diocese of Boya, and that of the driver and the journalist of DMR TV has been confirmed via a communique signed by the Chancellor of the Diocese of Boya, Reverend Father Mike Mbui. This after the bishop and the aforementioned persons were involved in an accident on their way to the Diocese of Yucaduma. The chief administrative personnel in the said communique situates that accident, incident, and called on the entire Christian community to pray for the quick recovery of the said persons, as well as God's guidance and healing. Choristers that make up Munyadzineri Choir Modek have been exhorted to continue serving God diligently, for they will be rewarded only by God Almighty. The call was made by Reverend Father Cletus Aka, chaplain of Munyadzineri Choir, during a Thanksgiving Mass to launch activities for the New Year on Sunday, March 2nd at St. Ignatius Catholic Church, Wonya Mavio. The new executive members of Modeka were also installed in the course of the Mass, which also witnessed the launch of a fundraiser to complete the presbytery of the St. Ignatius Loyola's Catholic Church, My 18 Wonya Mavio. The following are excerpts of Reverend Father Aka Cletus, chaplain, and that of the newly installed president of Munyadzineri Choir, Na Joseph.
We are gathered here today in St. Ignatius of Loyola's mission station here in Woyama View. This meeting is supposed to be last year at the end of, at the close of December, but due to the fact that we were busy and had no time, so I shifted it to the ending of this month, while we are celebrating, of course, in the early of February. It's supposed to be at the ending, the last Sunday of January. But the main aim, the main reason why we are here is because we want to kickstart the year by coming together to encourage ourselves We come from different parishes, for St. John Paul II Parish, Ekona, St. Andrew's Parish, Munya, Second Parish, Bumaka, St. Jude Parish, Bolifamba, my 16, and St. Jude Thaddeus Parish, my 14, Dibanda. So all of us, we have gathered here together as one people to share our joys, to share our experiences, and to commune together as one choir.
Okay, I am now Joseph, the incoming president of the Munya Dineri Choir. I was also the outgoing president. I was re-elected. But to tell you, last mandate was challenging, but I am very sure this year we are going to come out with new activities that will bring all the choirs of the various parishes together for us to always sing as one. As we know in our deanery, we are the best within the diocese and we want to maintain our position, and we believe working together will give us the opportunity to praise God better.
And away from Wonya Mavio there, we move over to St. Charles Luanga Parish, where electors of St. Charles Luanga Parish in Moliko have carried out their first group recollection at Our Lady of Grace Shrine in Sase over the weekend. The recollection was facilitated by the parish curate, Reverend Father Alphonse Wongibe, who led the lectors through a day of recollection and renewal, focused on the theme, Fortify Your Talents, the teachings from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 23, verses 14 to 30. Father Alphonse Wongibe urged the electors to recognize their unique talents and use them in the service of God. He further outlined some spiritual activities undertaken by the electors, highlighting the significance of the sacraments of reconciliation as the foundation of every recollection and retreat. At the end of the spiritual activity, some participants expressed how they felt spiritually fortified at the end of the recollection. Let's now take a listen.
Recollection has taught me a lot to be more steadfast in Christ, to not relent in our talent, in what we're doing, and it has really blessed me because I've had a special time to pray and to recollect with God, to remember that within all the struggles that are going through and everything and all the work, we should remember that we have to put time with God to be able to remember all our troubles and our healing, and we know that whatever we're doing, we should connect with God in our quiet time and in our prayer time.
As I'm going to continue also as a lector and also a member in a community, I need to bear in mind that God is with me and I need to have that trust, and I need to be watchful of my various steps I take as a lector, not only proclaiming to impact the life of the people, but my own benefits in it. I will get it when I try also to live an exemplary life.
In our own boats of life, in our challenges, we should wake Jesus up. And the command he gave was that be still. And so we have to be calm when God is concerned. So I'm living here a different person, because the way I'll handle problems and difficulties in my life, in my family, will be different, because I know that Jesus, though he was asleep, but he knew what was awaiting the apostles. That storm, he knew that it will come. So I know that in life he knows also the difficulties I will go through, and since he is there, we come back to him, and coming back to him is in prayers. And so when we come, we enrich our prayer lives, we enrich our spiritual life, and we go back really fulfilled, as I'm going today.
Away from the electors of St. Charles Luanga Parish, from that spiritual exercise which took place at Our Lady of Grace Shrine in Sase, and now we move over to St. John Paul II Parish in Ekona, where the Christians of St. John Paul II Parish Ekona have raised funds for the roofing of their parish hall. This was within the context of a holy mass presided at by Reverend Father Diodone Moka, a visiting priest from St. Andrew Parish, Munya. The fundraising exercise saw the main celebrants calling on the parishioners to be content with what they have and give freely. The parish hall project in Ekona has been ongoing for the past 13 years, dating back to the era of Reverend Father Stephen Norum as parish priest. The parish priest, Reverend Father Anselm Kebi, expressed gratitude to all as we hear in the following excerpt.
I'm Reverend Father Anselm Kebi, the parish priest of St. John Paul II Parish in Ekuna. Today, the 2nd of March, we had our parish fundraising with the sole goal and purpose of roofing our parish hall. So I think it has gone on smoothly, and I really want to thank God for making this possible for all of us, Christians, priests, invitees who have made it to support us in this gigantic project. I am so grateful to the Christians for challenging themselves. It was beyond my imagination. I know the people of Ekona have suffered a lot in a special way through this socio-political crisis, but this has not stopped the people in their faith, and they continue to show it over and over again in times like this. They stand up like one man with their generosity, and I think that we have done something massive to show that we are one people, and we really want to see this whole project continue. So my word goes out to them, and my gratitude goes out to them. On behalf of Father Edwin and myself, we thank them. On behalf of the parish council, we say we are so grateful, and we hope that with what we have raised, at least we can begin something to continue with the roofing of the hall.
And now away from St. John Paul II Parish there in Ekona, and activities geared towards the celebration of the 40th edition of the International Women's Day commenced successfully on Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This event was characterized by several activities like advocacy walks, facing race, when women pray, and dancing competitions, among others, which brought together women for the empowerment of their rights. The 9th edition of the Vasingi Race, Blow the Blow, was all-inclusive with 4 categories of women between the ages of 20 and 60 years old. The regional delegate of women's empowerment and the family Southwest region, Ediage Lucia Dipita, appreciated the women for their massive turnout and called on the women to see the race as a way of exercise and socialization to commemorate the 40th edition of the International Women's Day celebration. The following are excerpts of the regional delegate of women's empowerment and the family and some participants of the Vasingi race.
The theme of this year, which is all women and girls for rights, freedom and equality, empowerment and equality. Those 3 key messages, the one that somebody asked me yesterday, why are they repeating it? It's because we have seen that there is still a gap. This gap needs to be closed. That is why we are still bringing up, because the women have not yet obtained the full rights that they need to obtain. They are still lagging behind. The men are still carrying out their chauvinistic attitude to send them behind. The women themselves are still laid back. That is why we are talking about rights, equality, and empowerment. And then for the empowerment part of it, we see that women are still not coming up with the necessary things that can generate income for their families. And many people have misunderstood the appellation empowerment. Empowerment is not for women to come out with a lot of energy, negative energy, to fight the men or to be aggressive to the men or whatever. Empowerment is that the woman should have added value, where tomorrow she can be able to support her family, support her husband, support even other vulnerable children.
Madam Christiana Teke, I'm from Bukongo. I've been running this race. This is the 9th edition. Yes, for my category I run 50 and above. Yes, the race this year was very, very nice and very, very impressive. So I'm encouraging the young generation to grow, to run this race, because we are old and the young shall grow, and the young they will make the race.
Madam Violet Akienzele Ekema. I come from Bukwango village. This race, I'm always running this race for about 6 years today. So I enjoy the race. When I came to run this race, I see so many activities that make me happy. I see my friends who have been lost for a long time. So when I join with my friends, we happy, we glad, we run, we dance. So I'm very happy.
Madam Daniela Momo is here. This is the 9th edition of this race. We have been running the race for a very long period of time. We are very happy for the people that are sponsoring the race, because the race is making us very happy, make the women's day to be very happy. Some of us will have the opportunity to meet our friends and relatives. There are many activities taking place here. We have dancing activity, competitions, and many other. That's the race, running and the race. We are very happy. We pray that this activity should continue, and God should help us and send us many sponsors that are going to help us to continue the race. So we're going to be more greater than what we are.
Woman, indeed, short periods from now, we'll be celebrating the International Women's Day in Cameroon and beyond. Indeed, it's a period to celebrate the women. And now moving over to staff members of Toby Telecommunication Network Ltd were equipped with knowledge of an ethical workplace atmosphere during a one-day workshop held over the weekend at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral Hall. The workshop featured presentations from different speakers with a keen focus on strategic, executive, and corporate and workplace peace. Bechum Samuel Beche, a peace advocate, centered his presentation on how workers can promote peace in their working environment. According to Reverend Father Frank Bayong, another speaker, a worker's relationship with God also has an impact on the workplace. Tombi Telecommunication Network Ltd is an institution specializing in marketing and advertisement. Here is an excerpt from the CEO and co-founder of TTNet, as well as guest speakers, Reverend Father Bayong.
What is happening here today? Okay, I am Tombi for Jervis. I'm the co-founder and CEO of TTNet, that is Tombi Telecommunication Network. We started our operation on the 26th of May 2022 with 4 board members. It was all about customer service. It was a dream of 4 people, but I can say that business was good, and presently we have about 42 employees. Yeah, so since this is the beginning of the year, we thought twice to improve the skills of our employee based on the market. The market has gone big, there's technology, there are so many things, and there's a lot of conflict among employees. And the worst is we call it cold war, the one that they cannot express. It can lead to low productivity and even closure of business. So I thought it was an expert in as an entrepreneur. I thought it was I need to have a peace. Let workers know how to settle their dispute among themselves with clients, and even handle some of their home difficulties, so that doesn't affect productivities that we are offering to our clients. So that is the purpose of this training session today.
I'm the parish priest of the Co-Cathedral, and I was invited by the people of the TTNet to come here for this very important meeting that they are having. Is a kind of training program. It's referred to as a strategic executive corporate and workplace peace training for TTNet, which is a company that deals with computer and IT. And I happen to be one of the keynote speakers, and I was able to speak about the relationship between God and the workplace at the level of the TTNet. And I've drilled the participants on the importance of work. First of all, God himself initiated work, and this you could see from the book of Genesis, where God himself worked. He created man. I also showed them in the book of Jeremiah where God is being referred to as the potter and we as the clay, and God uses his hands to make us into what we are. I also even went into the New Testament to see the work that Jesus was doing continually. The Bible says he turned water into wine, which is work. The Bible says he was able, when he got into the city of Nain, he found a woman, a widow whose only son had died, and Jesus was able to bring him back to life. So you see, it's work. And St. Paul makes it clear in one of his epistles that no food for the lazy man.
Indeed, no food for the lazy man. Away from that particular news slot that brings us to the end of our Divine Mercy infos this morning. Follow us on Divine Mercy Prime to get a full package of these highlights which have been brought to us this morning on DMR TV today. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. I've been Bernard Asongne.
Thank you for the news presentation this morning, Bernard Asongne. As he said, updates will be us at exactly 7 p.m. during Divine Mercy Prime. Well, this morning we are talking about goals, how we set them, and how we want to achieve them. But be reminded that discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. So if you want to achieve your goals, you have to be disciplined. Yes, if you want to accomplish all your goals, discipline is the first step towards achieving that. That said, today is Monday and we have the catechetical session of Bishop Michael Bibi, and we want to remind you that yes, today he's going somewhere and he will definitely be talking about something else, something different, something new. You don't want to miss out on that session. Let's find out where Bishop Michael is going to this day in the next promo.
The church approaches the season of Lent. Christians are encouraged to fully engage this season. No one does so without appropriate knowledge. This Monday, March 3rd, 2025, His Lordship Michael Bibi will teach on the liturgical year, the seasons of Lent.
These 4 candles represent the 4 weeks of Advent. The Catechism of the Catholic Church in paragraph 522 to 524 talks about the period of Advent. And Advent is considered as a period of preparation for the coming of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. The order for the celebration of the Roman liturgy says that Advent, the coming during that Advent is preparing for, has a twofold meaning. The first meaning is that we are preparing ourselves to celebrate the nativity of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ at Christmas. And the second meaning is that we are preparing ourselves for the second coming, when Jesus will come again to judge the living and the dead.
Our weekly catechesis, Know Your Faith, which runs on DMR TV, radio and television, intends to nourish the faith of believers in and out of the diocese. Do you have a question on faith-related issues? Ask during the session.
I just want to find out what then are the conditions met to qualify a laity to distribute sacred Holy Communion. From my observation, it is not common among the ecclesiastic province of Bamenda, but within our francophone diocese, you find laities helping the priest to share communion. So I just want to find out if there's a particular condition or there is a reason for that. Thank you, my Lord.
Know Your Faith every Monday on DMR TV runs from 10:30 a.m. to midday on radio, FM 97.1 in Boya and 91.5 in Limbe and its neighboring towns. On television, we are free to air on satellite and on social media platforms, notably Facebook and YouTube. DMR TV, sharing the light of hope.
You have been informed, so do not miss today's session at St. Charles Luanga Parish, Moliko, exactly 10:30 a.m. His Lordship Michael Bibi will be there, so go there and get the teachings. It's exactly all right, 1 minute to top the hour of 8 a.m. this morning, and we are getting into our press review still within the confines of the news room this morning. We have the gorgeous Magdalene Wundo, who is right here in the studio. She's going to tell us about news-making events, from our kiosk. What have the papers been saying, since Friday evening till, in fact, the entire Friday till this morning. So Magdalene Wundo, good morning to you and welcome. How are you?
Good morning, Eileen, and I'm okay. And you?
I'm very fine. You look radiant in your yellow black Ankara.
Thank you, and you look very beautiful as well.
Thank you very much, Magdalene. So Magdalene, what are the top stories the papers are carrying this morning?
Throughout the weekend, it was a very busy weekend. A lot of papers are writing a lot of things, and some of the top stories are the SDF party had a meeting in Yaoundé, and they chose a candidate, and Osi Joshua is still the candidate for the presidential elections 2025. And also we have the Ballon d'Or that was announced in the papers some days back last week. So there's a lot of disappointment in the person that was chosen as the Ballon d'Or of Cameroon. As some of the papers presume someone else, but someone else is having the Ballon d'Or title. So a lot of disappointment is ranging out there. And we also have the Minister of Civic Education, Youth and Civic Education, Monona Fotso's visit to Brussels, Belgium, where he considered it a diaspora sensitization tour. It hit with a lot of anti-BR regimes. There was some kind of hitches here and there. So there are a lot of other things that the papers are saying. We also have in Manu, the far north region, where there is a lot of controversy on the support of the state to the victims of the incident there. So there's a lot of things the papers are saying, a lot of interesting stories the papers are saying.
Okay, definitely. We are going to dive directly into it for you to unveil the package for us in greater details. So do not touch that Magdalene is taking us across Cameroon now, bringing us the papers very hot from the print media houses, both English and French. So stay with us.
Good morning, dear viewers, and thanks for joining us on this segment of the program where we are going to be reviewing the press for you. So we are going to start immediately with the Guardian Post Daily newspaper. The Guardian Post Daily newspaper talks of 2025 presidentials, where we see ahead of 2025 presidential anti-BR regime sentiments resurrects in Europe. That's what the Guardian Post newspaper is telling us this morning, which says Youth Affairs Minister escapes beating, collaborators served powder on faces. The paper has that very striking headline. So if you want to find out more on what happened in Belgium or Brussels, you should grab a copy of that paper this morning, which also says the Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Mununa Fotso, survived, and his collaborators survived thrashing by a whisker in the Belgian capital, Brussels, on Friday, February 28, 2025. If you want to find out more on that paper, you should grab a copy of the Guardian Post newspaper. It also has up at the top of the paper, 2025 presidentials, SDF picks OC again. The national chairman of the Social Democratic Front, SDF, Honorable Osi Joshua, has again been designated as the party's presidential elections at the October 2025 presidentials. So if you want to read more on that paper or on that story, you should grab a copy of the Guardian Post newspaper. We also have the next newspaper we'll be reviewing this morning. It's the Advocate newspaper. The Advocate newspaper carries as the main headline, The Advocate newspaper, Sonara Rehabilitation Reconstruction. We have as preliminary phase contract signed, Bako Haruna confirmed man of actions. It's been barely a year he took up her, and he's really doing a lot for that company. So if you want to grab or you want to find out more on that story, you should grab a copy of the paper. It also carries the SDF presidential candidate OC Joshua unveils nation-saving strategic plan. So if you want to read or find out more on that paper, you can grab a copy. And we also see on the Sun newspaper, which also carries stories of Sonara and the 2025 presidential elections, where we see SDF candidate OC Joshua says, I am ready to lead Cameroon. SDF chairman Honorable OC Joshua, over 3,000 SDF delegates flag off Honorable OC Joshua's mission to rescue Cameroon. So if you want to read or find out more on that paper, on that story, you could grab a copy of the Sun newspaper, and you're also going to find the story about Sonara. We are going to move on to the next newspaper, which is the Cameroon Insider newspaper, the bi-weekly newspaper, which talks on Cameroon Ballon d'Or 2024. Chindo Eto emerged on top. The paper says the former playmakers of Young Sports Academy and Amazon FAP, John Bosco Chindo and Naomi Eto, respectively clinched the men and women Best Football Player of the Year 2024 last Saturday. The ceremony, organized by Cameroon Football Federation FECAFOOT, was chaired by the minister in charge of special duties at the presidency, Philippe Gamboa, representing the First Lady Chantal Biya. So if you want to find out more on that news, on that story, you could grab a copy of Cameroon Insider to find out why Chindo and Eto were chosen for the men and women Ballon d'Or category respectively. We also move on to our next newspaper, which is Quotidien Réalité. We're moving on to the French newspapers, Quotidien Réalité, which says election of the SDF candidate for Cameroon for 2025 presidential election. The Honorable OC Joshua struck hard in Yaoundé. If you want to find out more or why he was designated as the candidate for 2025, you should grab a copy of the newspaper and read more on that story on Quotidien Réalité. That's the lone headline we have on that newspaper, which is focused on the 2025 presidentials, talking of SDF candidate OC Joshua still designated for presidential candidate for 2025 October. So if you want to read more or you want to find out more on the story, you could grab a copy of Quotidien Réalité newspaper and read more on that story. We're going to move to Emergence newspaper. Emergence newspaper, which says conquest of Itudi, hatred as a method of capturing power. If you want to find out why that headline, you should grab a copy of Emergence Quotidien newspaper and get a good read of the paper, which is very open, or you could find it on the stands this morning. We're going to move on to the next newspaper this morning, Luel du Sahel newspaper. Luel du Sahel newspaper, which talks on the Mayo Dana controversy over state support for student disaster victims. So if you want to find out more on why this controversy over state support, you could grab a copy of the newspaper this morning and read more, because the government or the state has designated some money for the victims of this disaster, which could help them register for the exams for this year. So if you want to find out why that controversy over state support, you could grab a copy of the newspaper and get a read. The paper also talks of Joshua OC, standard bearer of the SDF presidential 2025. So if you want to know more on that paper, you could grab a copy. We also have L'Economie newspaper. The Economy newspaper, which talks of Douala, Yaoundé, these urban cities, mobility projects have been stagnated for years. If you want to find out why, or why most of these things, why this is happening, you could grab a copy of the paper. It also talks of most of them were announced a little over 10 years ago to improve public transport on the ground. The materialization is slow for the project. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development and City Hall singled out. So if you want to find out more on this story, which talks of the mobility of projects in Douala and Yaoundé and why it has been stagnated, you could grab a copy of L'Economie newspaper and you're going to have a good read of the paper or of why the projects have been stagnated. We're going to move on to the next newspaper this morning, which is L'Oju newspaper. L'Oju newspaper talks of special status, how the Northwest municipalities operate. It says findings of the functioning in 2024 of regional, municipal and decentralized services of the state by the publication of the fourth report of the Public Independent Conciliator to the Northwest region. So if you want to read more on the special status in the Northwest region and how the Northwest municipalities operate, you could grab a copy of L'Oju newspaper and get a good read of the news of the stories this morning. We are going to move on to Le Citoyen newspaper. The Citoyen newspaper talks of identification cards, which says simplified procedures. The national identity card is a vital document for Cameroonians, but how to get it? Discover the simplified procedures. So the Le Citoyen newspaper is giving you an insight of how, or an in-depth explanation of how you could get your simplified, or you could get the simplified procedures of the identity cards these days. So you could get a copy for those still having challenges on how to actually get their ID cards. You could get a copy of Le Citoyen newspaper these days and read more on how you could go about the procedures. We also have a policy, Joshua Osi, the homeless man's choice for a better future. That's the headline on Le Citoyen newspaper. So if you want to read more on these stories, you could grab a copy of Le Citoyen newspaper and get more insights on the stories. We also have here the next newspaper, L'Étudiant newspaper. L'Étudiant newspaper, which talks of the Brussels incident. The Minister of Youth and Civic Education as a good father. He also has on the paper, during his official visit to Belgium, the Minister of Youth and Civic Education, Monuna Fotso, saw the closing ceremony of the Cameroonian Youth Month disrupted on Friday, February 28, by a group of Cameroonian activists based in Europe. As an enlightened guide, the Minister of Youth and Civic Education has forgiven these acts and invites the protagonists to a more formal framework of dialogue. So if you want to read more or find out why this incident in Brussels, Belgium, you could grab a copy of the newspaper and know why this happened. You could get a copy of that paper and know why this happened. So we're going to move to Cameroon Tribune newspaper. Cameroon Tribune newspaper, which is also focused on the how to get your ID cards, which says new identity card. Paul Biya sets the rules. The decrees signed last Friday by the President of the Republic devote both the modernization and simplification of the process and the securing of the various documents produced by the authorized bodies. So if you want to know more on the simplified methods of getting your identity card, you could grab a copy of the newspaper and read. The text also details the technical characteristics of the national identity card and other identification documents like residence permit, residence card, refugee card, police professional card, and national disability card. So if you want to know more on that paper, or grab a copy and read more on the paper. And we also have 40th edition of International Women's Day. We have Sport Walk begins week-long activities. Women from several administrations undertook sports walk over the weekend to get ready for diverse activities that will commemorate on March 8th with the celebration proper. So if you want to read more on these stories, you could grab a copy of Cameroon Tribune this morning. And we also have the next newspaper this morning is La Voix des Jeunes. La Voix des Jeunes newspaper talks of the Ballon d'Or in Cameroon 2024, the disappointment. It says young sports academy striker Chindo John Bosco succeeds Emmanuel Mahop in winning the prestigious Cameroon Ballon d'Or ahead of the controversial Victoria United midfielder Wilfred Nathan Douala, who was nevertheless announced as the favorite by several media outlets. So it states that maybe some media outlets or some persons are disappointed with the choice for the Ballon d'Or of Cameroon 2024. So if you want to get a read or you want to find out more on this story, you could grab a copy of that paper and you're going to find out more on that story, why the choice of Chindo over Douala. So you could grab a copy and get a good read of that story on La Voix des Jeunes, which is the lone headline on that paper. We're going to move on to the next newspaper this morning, Cameroon Insider newspaper. Cameroon Insider also talks of Cameroon Ballon d'Or 2024. Chindo and Eto'o emerge on top. Okay, so we're going to move on to Mutation newspaper this morning. Mutation newspaper talks on MTN and Dampolo case, and it's not over yet. The paper says the day after a ruling by the Littoral Court of Appeal in favor of the telephone operator, the businessman carried out new seizures deemed illegal in the South African group bank account. So if you want to read more on the case of MTN and Dampolo case, you could grab a copy of the newspaper and get a good read of that story. We also have the Nachtigal Dam, which says the seventh group in production. So if you want to find out more on these stories, you could grab a copy of Mutation newspaper and get a good read of the stories in that paper. And we also have on Le Drapeau newspaper, which states urban mobility, Douala is inspired by Dakar. It says in order to improve urban mobility, Cameroon is considering adopting the bus rapid transit system inspired by Senegal. Celestine Kecha Coutes, Minister of Housing and Urban Development, carried out a mission to Dakar from February 2022 to 2024 to study the technology with ambition of modernizing the public transport in Douala. So if you want to find out more on that newspaper in the Douala way, the mobility, it has a lot of increasing mobility challenge. So they want to adopt a new way of transport. If you want to find out more on that story, you could grab a copy of the newspaper, Le Drapeau newspaper, at 400 francs and get a good read of that story. And it also carries on the papers the Cameroon Ballon d'Or 2024, Chindo, Bosco, and Naomi at the top. So if you want to get or you want to find out more on the stories, you can grab a copy of the newspapers this morning and get a good read of the papers, and you're going to find out more on that story. So those are the few newspapers we could grab there. We could get lay hands on this morning to be reviewed for you. So if you want to get more or read more on the stories in the newspapers, there are a lot of newspapers on the stands this morning. So you could get to the newspaper stands around the town and grab a copy and get a good read for the stories on the newspaper. So thank you very much for your keen attention on our press review slot this morning. Stay tuned for more on Salve Vicinus.
Thank you very much, Magdalene, for our press review this morning. Very rich, very heavy indeed. Yeah, Mondays are always, so heavy. Well, this morning, Magdalene, we will have some few stories to look at as the papers are reporting on these major stories, especially concerning presidential elections, which has been on the papers since January, and we'll definitely have that till election day in October. October. So today we have a very intriguing one that talks about the anti-BR regime that resurrects in Europe ahead of the 2025 presidentials, as carried by the Guardian Post newspaper. Now, it's shameful and disturbing to read or hear that Yoruba First Minister Monuna Futso escapes beating, like he was almost gotten beaten, you know, and his collaborators received powder on their faces. It could have been worse. What do you make of this story? What do you think of what has happened to these state men, and how we can move forward, you know, prevent such things from happening to our able ministers and delegations abroad?
Okay, and I just feel like it's like a plan or a coup because he was going for something else. He was going for diaspora sensitization tour to call on the youths out there to come back to their country and invest in their country. He was not going for presidentials. He was not going as maybe a spokesman for the president. He was going on behalf of his ministry to see how he can boost the economy of Cameroon. But it seems at the tail end he got the worst, and it feels like he was also very ready for because you can see on the other papers they say he as a good father, he forgave the people, the protagonists, the activists about what they did, because he was just like a film to him, because we are coming for something else and there's an attack for something else. So what is the need if he's going out of the country to Belgium to call on the other youths out there who have investment ideas or who have to come back to the country and invest, and all of a sudden he's been attacked by, like, it means among the youths we had people that are already planning that, like, let's meet any of these ministers or President Biya's people and all of that. So it was not really a good thing to do for the youth. You could meet him formally. He's already in Belgium, he's already in Brussels. You sit down and talk. If you have something to say, if you have a message for the president, you could hand it over to him in a formal way. There's no need for that controversy was not really called for. So as
violence begets violence. It's not necessary, indeed. Well, this is just telling us how frustrated Cameroonians are getting, probably with the regime, and they feel like taking the laws into their hands sometimes is the way forward, or they just want to prove a point. You know, they are so disgruntled, but we see violence never solves an issue. And like you said, Magdalene, there's a way to go about it. Tabling your worries, getting to the right people. You have to do the needful. Well, let's stay with presidentials. We have almost all the papers this morning talking about the endorsement of Joshua Osi, who is a candidate for the Social Democratic Front for the presidentials 2025. Yes, we knew that he is going to lead the party, but then this morning we are reminded that the SDF picks Osi. In fact, they have officially designated him as a candidate for the 2025 presidentials, while we are looking forward to other parties to do same. Now, Magdalene, do you think, as the papers are telling us, that Osi Joshua is the one to lead Cameroon out of you know, whatever that it's facing? I saw a very catchy headline somewhere on the papers this morning telling us that Joshua is ready to lead Cameroon, yes, as this paper puts it, the Sun. Do you think he has he's able and he can win that election this year? Can the SDF seize power? And if Joshua Osi is able to, or the regime, you know, bring the changes that we all are looking forward to?
I also think it's not going to be on my opinion or on our opinion, but it's going to be on us, the citizens of the country, to actually take the bull by the horn and going to the electoral post and actually voting for who we want, because it's not about us talking on panel like he is able and capable. So we should be able to see the potentials in him, and we should be able to vote for who we think can be a better leader. Leadership is also it's not about you, it's about your team. You're leading the country as a team, and if your team is ready to work in collaboration with you, I think it's going to be a good one. So it's not about us deciding who is going to win or looking at who is going to win. It's about us going to the polls and voting for who we think is going to be a better leader of the country. We do not know a leader unless he's in power.
Yeah.
It's only when you get power. We see it even on a daily, maybe in our daily lives.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, no, I will not. But when you have that power, you're a whole different person. So we cannot just start judging on who is going to be a better leader without us going to the polls and voting for who we want.
Well said, Magdalene. Well, the last question for this morning, let's talk about sports. We also have a very interesting and intriguing story carried by the papers this morning. Yes.
The
Ballon d'Or. We are told that people are grumbling, sport fans and, enthusiasts are saying that John Bosco Chindo wasn't supposed to be the one to receive the Ballon d'Or. Well, Cameroon's Ballon d'Or saw him, that's John Bosco Chindo and Naomi Eto'o crowned, the male and in the male and female categories respectively. They got the awards, and that was on Friday, February 28. The Minister of Special Duties at the Presidency, Philippe Mbargamboa, represented the First Lady at this event. So, Magdalene, what might have gone wrong? Why are Cameroonians drawn to? Is it, I'm not really, let's say, a football fan, so I'll not be able to really analyze. I don't know if you are a football fan, but then we are journalists and we must always follow up on these stories. What might have gone wrong when you hear fans, Cameroonians, complaining that this person didn't deserve it, this other person didn't deserve it? What was the criteria that the sports team and the jury had to go through to be getting this kind of commotion in 2025?
The choice of Chindo as Ballon d'Or for 2024 is a federation's decision. It's not about individuals. They say media outlets had someone else. That was their choice.
Okay.
The federation obviously is going to have their own choice. They have a criteria they follow to choose this person. So it's not about what we think. We could also stay here and say, okay, we wanted somebody else, and maybe 4 or 5 media outlets are saying that same or are on that same person. It does not make the person meritorious. It depends on who the federation deems is fit to get the Ballon d'Or. They might be wrong, but it is their judgment. It is, they have a criteria. Maybe it's from their criteria they followed that they thought it wise that Chindo is fit to take that post, other than Douala, the Victoria United player. So it all depends on who the federation thinks. Even for, we only have maybe group elections, and maybe in our various social groups, you might, or a group of persons might have their own person they want as president. But that the general population there sits and they say, no, this person has their own flaws or their own gains that might not be for the good or for the working of this particular position. So they choose someone. So I think that's the same criteria the FECAFOOT followed to choose Chindo as the Ballon d'Or for 2024. All
right. Thank you very much for your analysis and for reviewing the press this morning. We look forward to having you again tomorrow. But before we give our final goodbyes, we would love to have your opinion on today's talking point. And Magdalene, well, we are in March. We've spent 2 months already successfully, and we are grateful to God to still be here. We're looking at our bucket list, and at the beginning of the program, we broke down the meaning of bucket list. I know you know what bucket list means, but for those who are just joining us, it's a list of set goals, achievements that we want to accomplish in the course of our life. And now we're looking at the course of the year. It could be for a given period of time. You could say, in the next 3 months I want to achieve this. In March I want to achieve this. Then you make the list of the things you want to achieve, then you set aside, you go out there to achieve them. So we are asking this morning what we have achieved so far for the first 2 months in 2025, looking at our bucket list. So you may want to share with us how it has been so far.
Okay, I think in 2025 has been a good year for me. It started on a good footing, and that was all because in 2024 I actually wrote down my bucket list in 2024 by the end of the month, not at the beginning of the year. at the end of December. I actually had a bucket list, and looking at my bucket list, I'm actually following it to the latter because they say to achieve or discipline begins from within. You have to be consistent. So I have a list of things that I put in place to achieve in 2020, February and January, and it's going on where like getting to know new things, exploring the social media for my own good, listening to motivational speakers, listening to what they say that can actually motivate you, reading books, and improving on your vocabulary and improving on a lot of things about yourself, your way of living, your way of interacting with person, and actually growing into a mature person. I think that's what I've actually done for the first 2 years, letting go of those things, that those little fringes that do not really act or reduce anything on you. You let it go.
Let it go.
Yes, you don't have to. You must not waste retaliate to whatever people say. So whenever they say something, you just smile at it and you let it go. So those are some of the things this year that has started on a good footing. Getting to read more books, getting to explore the media for my own good, learning new skills on the media and social media platforms, and it's really been good for me. So
wow,
so far so
good. I feel like clapping for you.
So far so good.
So far so good. Well, that's amazing to know, Magdalene, and I wish you well on that journey. Just keep doing that, and yes, we can see the fruits of the investments you are getting into this 2025. It can be seen all over you. Well, before you take leave of us, you want to say a shout out to anyone today? You thinking about anyone? You want to wish them a happy new month and a new week? Why not?
Okay. I'm first of all saying shout out to my parents and siblings at home. I think they're watching us right now.
Okay.
I'm saying shout out to you all, and always stay glued, because I always glued to DMR TV. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm wishing them happy new month on air today. And I'm also wishing a happy new month to priests.
Yes.
So maybe to all the priests out there, especially the priest, Reverend Father James Ajombo, Reverend Father Michael Mbui. I'm also wishing happy new month to Father Francis Cham and Sister Colette, and all the priests out there. And I'm also wishing it to everybody who always stays glued to Divine Mercy Radio Television for all the interesting programs.
Thank you very much, Magdalene. We see you tomorrow, God willing, of course.
Yes.
Blessed day to you.
A better one for you.
Inshallah. All right. Thank you very much, Magdalene Wundo, as you continue your duties. May God be with you throughout the day. Well, we are looking forward to hear from you this morning. Share with us your bucket list. You may want to share your bucket list or the ones you've achieved so far, and tell us how the first 2 months of 2025 have been. Okay, when she was giving the shout outs to her people, I thought about His Lordship Michael Bibi. You got from that communique in the course of the news that he was involved in an accident on his way to Yokaduma for the ordination of Bishop Justin Benge, and in that car we had the driver and our very own Joseph Otto. We thank God for preserving you guys, for saving your lives, for granting you journey mercies. At the end of the day, you came back to us, and we are praying for speedy recovery for those who got injuries, like His Lordship Michael Bibi and our very own Joseph Otto. Speedy recovery to you. We love you so much, and we thank God once again for preserving you. We're going to take a musical interlude. When we come back, we are getting into our Where Ends Meet package, so do not move for more. So while we look forward to hear from you. God is great, God is kind, God is good, and to us believers, He never let go of showing to us that He is indeed supreme. All we need do is to be faithful, to have that faith, to trust in Him, and to always have in mind that He watches over us always. It might take a long time to satisfy us. It might take a long time for us to get, our prayer points answered by God, but He definitely comes through. So always have that in mind. Where that said, so we get few quotes about setting goals and achieving them. For you who has challenges achieving your goals or even setting them, You need to know that greatness is not measured by what a man or woman accomplishes, but by the position or opposition he or she has overcome to reach their goals. So you might be faced with trials, tribulations, finding it really hard to achieve those goals because of these challenges that will come knocking, these difficulties. Never relent your effort at working hard towards them. So just keep that up and be reminded that when we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. Yeah, so strive to be better. When we strive for perfection, we get closer to perfection. Be reminded. All right, that said, we are going to find out about one other hustler struggling to make ends meet, struggling to take care of their family, and just burning that midnight oil to be able to contribute to nation building in their own little way. Yeah, because money must circulate, and when you run a business, when you try to make ends meet, you're definitely contributing, to making Cameroon great, to make Cameroon develop. So, kindness, let's go find out whom we are discovering this day.
Hello there to the friends of Divine Mercy Radio Television, and welcome to the slot where ends meet on Salve, Vicinus. We have been to Limbe, we have been to Idina, we have been to Ekona, and we have been to Boya to see how people are struggling with some of the little business they do and how they use the money to cater for themselves. And today we are in Kumba Town, precisely directly opposite St. John the Evangelist main mission here in Kumba Town, and we'll be meeting a photographer who has been in the business for a long time, for him in order to tell us how business is going on a daily basis and how he uses this business to cater for himself and his family. So stay tuned as we meet this photographer here in Kumba Town. You are welcome back, TV friends, and we welcome you to yet another edition of the slots where ends meet on Salve, Vicinus. Quickly, let us meet this photographer here in Kumba Town, directly opposite St. John Mission Station. Good afternoon to you, Daddy.
Good afternoon.
Can you kindly introduce yourself to us?
Really, I'm Mr. Eta Joseph Ojong, known as Johnson Photo Video
Okay, so
Office, yeah.
All right. So you are a photographer here in Kumba Town. For how long have you been into this business?
I've been into this business for quite a long time now, since around 2001. So I've been so long for it.
From that period till now, we all know some businesses face one or two challenges. So what are some of the challenges you face being a photographer here in Kumba?
Now, being a photographer here, the challenges we are facing, not only me. All what we are facing here is just to, like the problem of telephones that has come now. They gives us a lot of problems. When you want to snap or to cover some occasion, you see people of the telephones that will come there and giving us a lot of, but now we don't blame them because it's a digital world that we are facing now. But if you're a good photographer, you must get something too from there. But that's some of the problems that we are facing. And some other problems, some people just want to enter into the business without having training or knowing that it's a profession that pays. It's a profession that you earn living, that can put your food on the table. So some people look at it as if it's just a profession that is just passive. But I'll let you know that photography is a very good good business that if you are there, you will enjoy it if you know it very well.
Okay, with all the challenges you have listed, we want to find out from you, what is your profit like, let's say in a day or in a week, and how do you use this profit you get from this business of yours in order to cater for yourself and your family?
No, we have profit. The little profit that we have, or which I have, I help to build up my own family, like my children. I send them to school, pay their school fees, and we are all okay. Putting food on the table, everybody in the family is okay. Yeah.
Why did you prefer to become a photographer amidst other jobs that men do, like maybe driving, mechanic, carpentry? Why did you prefer to be a photographer?
You see, before I become a photographer, it's a job that I've done it since from small. I learned it from small, but I decided to leave it for some time. Went back to school and did carpentry. This place that people are seeing like this, it was a carpentry workshop.
Okay.
Then when I feel as I'm getting old, you know, carpentry is a very hard job that you alone cannot do it. So I decided to go back and refresh myself with photography. Finally, I opened this place.
Okay.
Yes, I opened this place to be my business place, and that is what is helping me now for everything that I do in life.
So you have been here since 2001?
Yeah.
Now, how do you use this business of yours to empower other youths out there? Do you have young guys who you are training?
I have guys that they always used to come here and ask so many questions on how they can be trained. But you know, with the present situation of the country, so many youths, they just like but to enjoy. They don't want to persevere to get something that will benefit them in future. Yes, but there are some which have interest. And if you show that interest, I will train you. Sometimes I used to advertise that I can even train the young ones, even for free. But only to get them is not easy. It's not easy. It's good that people have come here, and if you have any opportunity to have any child who has that interest to do photography, who can make him to come here.
So can you explain to us the equipment you use in doing this photography? Is it that you just use a camera and you snap and you give the person, or you do a lot of things in order to make the picture beautiful?
No, here I do direct photography,
okay,
which I use my camera,
okay,
or I do video work.
Okay.
But besides this, we have other bigger labs, photo labs, that when we finish here, we get our pictures there for finishing. Then we can now hand them to our customers. Yeah.
Now, do you do frames, or you just do normal pictures? Or
I snap pictures of 1318. I snap pictures of passport size photographs. I snap pictures for enlargement, as you can see them. For enlargement, yeah. But what I want to understand is that no photographer does a job all alone. We have various branches, yeah. So when I do here everything, I computerize my pictures, I work them up. When I work them up, I send them out for final production.
all right. So what is your price range? Take for example, if I'm to come here to snap a picture and do a frame, what is the price range?
As you can see, my frame list is there. Printing of pictures, passport size, enlargement, posters, banners.
Okay.
So all those things, they are arranged there. We have a price list there, which when you come, I just send you there, you look at your price list. But it doesn't mean that as that price list is there, we cannot, because some people, not all fingers are the same.
That's true. Yeah. All right, today is World Photography Day. As someone who has been into the business for over 10 years, what does that mean to you?
No, World Photography Day is a very important day for the world, not only for us here in Kumba, but for our own level here in Kumba. We always try to do some celebrations. You see, I'm just here today just because I'm not well so much. Okay. I would have been there now with my friends, because in the morning they did what we call footing all around the town.
Okay.
And this evening they are going to assemble where we have to assemble. There they call it the enjoyment time. You see, at this period like this, we always print our T-shirts to make everybody looks in uniform. Yeah, everybody will look like in uniform. But the World Photography Day, as it's called, is a very nice day. It's a day that, you know, the meaning of photography first is when we produce picture, we give it to you. We always advise customers not to lose their pictures, because picture is history. Picture is history. There is nothing that you do, even in journalism, there is nothing that you do without a photographer besides you. And when you succeed to have a picture, just know that that picture, you use it to go far. There is no story you can give out if this picture is not there. It would not stand. Yeah. So we make people to understand that picture is history, and that is what we are celebrating today, to make people understand that photography is a nice job all over the world, and they should give us that chance to do anything that we want to do.
Now, final question before we take leave of you. What's your advice for young guys who do not want to maybe do this kind of hard job or other kind of jobs in order to have money, but rather they venture into scamming and look for easy ways to get money? What advice can you give to them?
I will advise them that they should try to engage themselves in something to do like this. Photography is a very nice job. It's a job that does not take a lot of pains. It does not worry you too much, but it needs a lot of concentration. Concentrate and do it. Any youth that does this photography, it will help him or her.
Okay, for those who maybe are in Kumba or for those who are living in Boya and they want to take a snapshot, how can they get to you?
You get to me through my phone number. You get through my phone number. I have a phone number 651-84-0870. Yes. I do jobs all over Cameroon and abroad. Yeah. Like presently now, you are seeing I'm trying to edit a video that I covered for a funeral for the friends that came from America, France, and Britain. So I'm trying to follow up their job now.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for talking to us about your business.
You're welcome.
All right, there, TV friends of Divine Mercy Radio Television. There you have met Mr. Ojong, who is a photographer here in Kumba Town, directly opposite the St. John Main Mission. And as you rightly heard, he has been into the business for over 10 years. So if you are in Kumba Town, or if you are living Boya or any part of Cameroon or the world, and you want to have photography at its best, you can get to Mr. Ojong through the number he mentioned, or you can just come to Kumba Town directly opposite the St. John Main Mission and you ask for Mr. Ojong, the photographer. And as you rightly heard, the beautiful advice he gave to young youth out there who get into things to have quick money. I hope you watched and you listened to the advice. And as you heard, he's not only into photography, but into videography. So if you have any important event, be it marriage, be it a funeral, be it a birthday or whatsoever, you can get to Mr. Ojong and be rest assured that your event will be covered professionally. That is what we could get to you on today's edition of The Slot Where Ends Meet on Salve, Vicinus. Until we meet again, keep watching Divine Mercy Radio Television.
Thank you very much, Joseph Otop, for our Where Ends Meet. And yes, it's not Photography Day, okay? It's not World Photography Day. That one came in from our archives. And we are looking forward to Photography Day. That will be in August, on the 19th of August this year, 2025. Okay, well, you got the message out there. Hustling definitely pays. We must be hardworking. We must strive to do our needful so that God will do the rest. He blesses hard workers. He doesn't bless people who are lazy. Manna will not fall from heaven for you today, so you must go out there, hustle, so you can be able to put food on the table of your family. It is very, very important. What's your purpose on earth? Are you just a young man or woman who is lazing around the neighborhood and who doesn't want to work but feels like you should do criminal activities, get into criminal activities so that you can also earn a living? Well, that's not the way, that's not the lifestyle you should, cultivate, okay? Learn something like photography. It's a clean business, clean job. You don't get to soil your hands, you don't get to dirty your body and all of that. So for you who wants what they call a white collar job or a nyanga job, yes, you can go in for photography and you can earn a living or videography. Why not? Well, it's Pigeon News O'Clock and Kenja Man. We call him Kenja Man. That's Luan Valentine himself is already in the studio getting set for Pigeon News. We have just a few minutes, so we are going to dive directly into that slot right away.
Special salute for any man where it takes stop by just now. The take Lugu GMRO TV. As una take hear from staff lady Eileen Sama. Now the time this for we for take bring una tori for pidgin language, and straight away we go do the match fire ahead as time to day for we side contribute them. Straight away we start tori for this sharp morning time. Now for big book. Now the big book that way it come out for Bishop's house for yesterday, and now equally the chancellor for Daso Boya where he signed them, which the big book they talk. Now this sad incident for Coach Purem where it happened for that side for Yokaduma where the bishop for Daso Boya, his lordship Michael Bibi, and he crew the way they will go for inside Yokaduma side for the episcopal ordination for the new bishop for that end, which happened as they approach Yokaduma. Their motor it be tombosai, their motor it be get accident as it takes the big book it explain and so for when I contribute them. And equally the motor the Hilux when I see where Bishop be for inside and the driver with Toriman for inside Divine Mercy Radio Television, they will get accident for road. So now the motor that's over 2 p.m. when I hear more how it take pass for that side. We come out that chapter we enter Sesep now for the Yokaduma contribute them. For inside East region, big joy, big glad it will happen as the whole bishop of Cameroon, all bishop of Cameroon, of course, talk say the Vatican for Yokaduma side, the Yokaduma diocese for equally ordained and installed the new bishop where His Holiness Pope Francis will appoint him for number 11 day for January 2025. And which it take pass over the weekend for Saturday number 1 day for March month, so they for inside they be equally ordained and installed most Reverend Bishop George Ebengue for that side for Eastern Province for Yokaduma side. So as it takes him so for 2 p.m. when I could hear more as now the Archbishop Douala Archdiocese it will be the main celebrant for the ceremony. No miss him as we see more. Straight away, we carry una just now enter for next story. Coach put them, we will stop by this time around. Now for inside St. John Paul II Parish, Ekona for inside Moyoka Dineri, that's Okbeya. Which take place yesterday, Christian they be gathered for parish church for see how we the fee equally celebrate ceremony for Holy Mass. For launch the roofing of their hall, their parish hall, as it takes them, where Christians be turned out plenty, all the sons and daughters of Ekona Benge, they be there for church. As the ceremony be start with the Holy Mass, and equally Reverend Father Diodone Muka, now be the main celebrant, now a visiting priest, will be come up for St. Andrew's Parish Munya for go waka population for Ekona Benge side. The service say this Ekona Benge, they be their parish hall. So yesterday they be get equally roofing, launch of the roofing for raise budget, raise money for see how we they roof their parish church as their parish hall better see as it take pass for that end. Now they hold this so where it didn't have a roofing stage now. You see I'm no now can hold about other one, about other one. For 2 p.m. you will hear more, you will sabi more. We leave that chapter, we saw the stop by, we enter for next story, we saw the come out contribute them. Now for inside matter for Women's Day ceremony. Woman woman pikin man now we get them. Wait to take pass. As today now number 3 day, roughly 5 days for Women's Day every year, 8th of March, the world is celebrating Gondere them. Now way for inside Boya municipality, easy. Boya municipality, they be organize their own mountain race. Yes, small mountain race as well as social cultural activity them we mami them for villages them around Boya municipality, mami them for cultural groups them, they be answer present for that side for Palapala fee, for Boya town side, for kick launch, the women's activity them, where they did it now the 8th of March as it ever happens. So for 2 p.m. you will hear more. Alright, we equally leave that palaver or jam to read for today for inside this story where we see am so na some man boy that way come and put your hand. What is there for inside so? No be na cocoa there for inside too. No be na beef there for inside. But na human bones. You see am? Na human bone the way they catch am for some man boy where it go dig grave move am. Na for side they catch it. How it happen? Who side will take and go? We na hear them for 2 p.m. as we take care when so contribute them. Alright, we will leave and so for this ceremony time. Still for the 2 p.m. as we talk some die body. He sleeps straight now for Bukwango side for opposite Baptist Church. For when I know Baptist Church of Bukwango, some die body there is on Gondere, where they in her 20s. Yes, in her 20s, where to come kill him. That's all for 2 p.m. So we'll bring up Funa, we will take care of him as he take pass. We will meet up for 2 p.m.
Thank you, Langwa Man, for pidgin news this morning. Even though as you don't run Komoso, where you never answer our question for today, we'll be like for whether Langwa Man to don't achieve projects them for the first 2 months them for 2025. However, we look forward to the 2 p.m. edition of the news when he will break it down for us for with greater details for easy comprehension. Well, we're about to wrap up this edition of the program, but before we go, let's take this birthday. It's the birthday of a young, vibrant journalist. He is called Eyong Eta. Well, wishing you a very happy birthday to you. Eyong Eta journalist at Municipal Updates newspaper. May you age gracefully and may God continue to guide and protect you and your family. Warm regards, Nadesha May. Well, we are having challenges to get the pictures displayed on your screen, but then to you, Eta, we want to wish you a very happy birthday. More returns this new year, and to everybody blowing on their birthday candles this 3rd March, Divine Mercy Radio Television wishes you the best, prosperity, good health, and all what you wish yourself. Well, that said, we've come to the end of this edition of the program, where we received beautiful contributions from the Salve Vicinus team this morning, from Luam Valentine, Magdalene Wundo, Seminary on Pastoral, Bernard Song, His Lordship Michael Baby, and Joseph Otop, not leaving out our broadcast technician Kindness, and as well Betwell, the studio manager. We wish you all a beautiful day staying in the company of more programs coming up on Salve Vicinus. Remember that Know Your Faith will be at St. Charles Luanga Parish, Moliko, at exactly 10:30 a.m. More interesting programs coming up this day on Divine Mercy. I have been Summer Eileen. Keep it locked down here.